Algebra 1 students, welcome to your 2.3 notes on solving multi-step equations. We are going to do a couple of different strategies in this section. They're strategies that you've already used, it's just that you're going to combine them. So buckle up, here we go. To solve multi-step equations, you form a series of similar equivalent equations. To do this, use the properties of equality, inverse operations, and properties of real numbers. You use the properties until you isolate the variable. Okay, so mathematical processes you need to be ready to use. The first one is combining like terms, okay? I am talking about this setup right here, okay? And what we need to do is we need to combine this 4x and this negative 7x, all right? So we are going to end up with 3 minus 3x, all right? The distributive property, all right? We're pretty familiar with this one. We're going to take this 4, multiply it by the 3x, and we're going to take this 4 and multiply it by this positive 5. All right, so we should end up with a 12x plus 20. Okay. In the next one, we need to be comfortable using fractions and decimals. Okay, this is easy to do without a calculator. Trust me, you can do it. You can think about this as though it is 48 minus 29, but it is 4.8 minus 2.9. All right, so remember that we can borrow from here. We'll turn that into a 3, and then this will become an 18. Now all of a sudden, looks a little easier. So this is for folks that need a little bit of extra practice. Okay, so 18 minus 9 is 9. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1.9 is what we get when we subtract 4.8 from 2.9. All right, we need to find the common denominator in order to do 1/2 minus 3/4, and the common denominator is 4. So 1/2 is equal to 2 over 4. Okay, and when we subtract 3 over 4, we're going to end up with a negative 1/4. All right, let's take a look at some examples. All right, in example number 1, we have 8 minus q equals 16. So the first thing that I see that I'd like to do is combine like terms, and I'm going to combine these negative q's, right? So I've got 2 of them. All right. The second thing that I want to do is isolate this q sitting right here. So if we subtract 8 from each side, we'll be left with a negative 2q equals 8. And then all we have to do, this is an equals sign by the way, then all we have to do is divide each side by negative 2. I didn't leave myself enough space there, so I'm going to divide by a negative 2 on each side in order to get rid of this negative 2 that's sitting right here. Okay. Need my q right there. And then I'm going to be left with q is equal to negative 4. All right, number 2. All right, in number 2, I'm also going to combine like terms. Okay, so I've got, my first step is going to be, I've got 15 over there, and then I'm going to combine this 3y and this negative 10y, okay? So that's going to be a negative 7y minus 6. All right, and then again, I want to isolate my variable, so I need to do the opposite function, or the opposite of what's going on right here with the 6. So we're going to add 6 to both sides, and that gives us 21 is equal to negative 7y. All right, in order to get rid of that negative 7y, all I've got to do is divide both sides by negative 7. All right, and then I'm going to end up with y is equal to negative 3. All right, a family buys airline tickets online. Each airline ticket costs $167, and the family buys travel insurance with each ticket that costs $19 per ticket. The website charges a fee of $16 for the entire purchase. The family is charged a total of $1,132. And how many tickets did the family buy? All right, so we're going to use x as our variable. It's going to mean how many tickets. Okay. In this setup, we've got $167 per ticket. Okay, so x times the amount of tickets. We're going to add that to travel insurance for each ticket, $19 times each ticket. And then we're also going to have a flat fee of $16 for the entire purchase added to the cost, which is $1,132. Okay, so now that we've got that set up, it starts to appear that it looks just like our multi-step equations that we've been working with here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a little bit of math. And I want you guys to try something here. Pause the video and see if you can work through this one on your own. All right, hopefully you actually paused the video and did that work on your own. If you didn't do that, then shame on you. That was the instructions. However, you can see my work here. They purchased 6 tickets for their family. So if you have questions about that problem, see me in class, but hopefully it was pretty straightforward. Okay, here we go with number 4. We're going to distribute this 5 to both of these pieces of the problem. So we're going to end up with a, oh, that's supposed to be a 10. (10x minus 15 equals 15). All right, since we want to isolate that x, we're going to add 15 to each side. So we're going to end up with a, well, let's not just do that. Let's prove it here. We're going to add 15 to each side. Okay. And then our next step is to divide by 10 to get that x all by itself. So that's going to leave us with an x equals 3. All right. Number 5. Okay, order of operations say that we need to go to this 5 and distribute that. Okay, that should be the first thing that we do in this problem. So we're going to have n plus 5n minus 5 equals 7. Okay, now we can combine like terms. So we have a 6n minus 5 equals 7. We want to add 5 to each side so we can start to isolate that variable. And we will have a 6n is equal to, that would be a 12. And then our next step is to divide by 6. Again, trying to isolate that variable n, so we'll end up with an n is equal to 2. All right, so we've got some fractions here. Remember what I said about fractions. Don't freak out when you see them. Know them and get used to them, okay? Number 6, they were pretty nice. They gave us a common denominator. So we can start to combine like terms here. Okay? Now, in order to get the left-hand side of this equation to equal a 1 right next to that z, that invisible 1, we need to multiply by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 5 over 6 is 6 over 5. All right? So when we do that, we're going to end up, let's do it in blue. So that way we can make this go away. And anything we do to one side of the equation, we got to do to the other. Okay. So when we do that, that causes the 6's to cancel out, causes those 5's to cancel out. All right. And then we're going to end up with z equals 25 times 6. Okay, so if I've got 6 quarters, I'm going to have about $1.50, so I'd have 150 in the numerator. All right, and then I know 6 times 5, that's going to be 30, right? I can do a little bit of quick evaluation of this, cancel out those zeros. I'm going to have 15 over 3, which means that z is going to be equal to 5 in number 6. Okay, here we go. On the first piece of number 7, I can see pretty quickly I need to make a common denominator of 10. So we'll rework that just a little bit. That's supposed to be a 10. Okay, then I can combine like terms. I'm going to have negative 1r over 10 equals 1/5. Okay, and then I'm going to multiply each side by negative 10 because I want to get this puppy to equal 1. So I'm going to multiply each side by negative 10, and that's going to leave me with an r is equal to negative 10 over 5, which means that r is going to equal negative 2 in this case. All right? All right, number 8 says solve for x. Note that the sum of the interior angles of a quadrilateral is 360 degrees. Okay, so those of you who haven't had geometry yet, these guys right here are basically saying that this side and this side are equivalent to each other. And these guys right here are saying that this side and this side are equivalent to each other. Okay, so let's go ahead and make those the same symbols that they made them. Okay, so that's what those things mean. All right, and the other thing that I know is since that this is a parallelogram, and since I know that this angle right over here is going to be equal to this angle right over here. And I know that this angle right over here is going to be equal to this angle right over here. All right, I edited out a different way of doing that problem. I didn't want to confuse you guys. Here's how we're going to set this up. Since we know that we have an angle 2x plus 4, and we know that we have 2 of those, I'm going to set up our equation like this, and we're going to end up using the distributive property. The other thing we know is that we're going to add those with 2 angles that equal 6x, okay? When we add up all 4 of the angles, we know that this is a 0. We're going to end up with 360 degrees, okay? So let's use our distributive property. All right. 2 times 2x, we're going to have 4x. We're going to distribute the 2. Okay, so we're going to end up with an 8. We're going to add that to 12x, and that's all equal to 360 degrees. Okay. You guys should be with me. All right, now we can combine like terms. I've got 16x plus 8 is equal to 360 degrees. Okay, all I did there was put together this 12x with this 4x, okay? Left the 8 alone, really. I'm going to subtract 8 from each side. All right, I'm going to have 16x is equal to 352 degrees. And then x is going to be equal to 352 degrees over 16. Full disclosure, I'm going to enter that one into my calculator. X is equal to 22 degrees.